We all miss the darker days of Diablo in the medieval world of slaying demons. In this video we will go over what Diablo 4 should be like, and we will go over my opinion along with community feedback. Custom multiplayer games. When Diablo 3 was released, you couldn't pick and choose which multiplayer game you wanted to join, and they weren't custom. You just picked a game type and the system was automatic. I really enjoyed Diablo 2's system where you could just pick and choose what game you want to join. As you can see, there are so many different game types you can join that not only are related to farming and quests, but real player interaction, not just gameplay. Maybe someone is having trouble with the quest and you would like to help them out. You can join dueling games, trading games, or maybe you just have a real life topic such as BlizzCon that you would like to talk about, and people would join the game. You would play the game together and talk about BlizzCon. It was really awesome to have that interaction with other players in the world of Diablo. It's something you just don't get in Diablo 3. Only having the option to choose simple quests and game types really takes away from community interaction. Also, Blizzard should look into multiplayer towns where players in the world are in one instance. For example is Path of Exile, where you can see and interact with other players in the world that you can see. This was already in development when Blizzard North was working on Diablo 3. Overall, I think Blizzard should focus on allowing players to make multiplayer games more custom in Diablo 4. Trading with no auction house. In Diablo 2, the trading brought a whole new world to Diablo 2 besides just slaying demons and doing quests. It was a whole lot of fun to make trades with people and having more interaction with the community. Nowadays, the trading in games such as Path of Exile and World of Warcraft takes away from that interaction and trading atmosphere, with auction houses and online trading websites. With custom multiplayer games, we would see this type of trading come back to the game. Everyone has their opinions, and there is a good side and bad side to all of the options here. In-game trading gives Diablo a unique playstyle for trading compared to modern games and adds community interaction. Online trading websites and auctions takes away from that and provides a faster and easy trade. If Blizzard brings back custom games, we would definitely see more in-game trades. However, we may see players drifting more towards online trading websites like Path of Exile and D2JSP. This is all depending on where the community actually wants to go, but we will never know unless we have custom games. Runewords. Runewords were the end game of Diablo 2. It was amazing to grind for so long to finally get these game-changing items that made a huge difference in character builds and customization. Many were very overpowered, but they should be because of how rare the runes actually are. Runewords were something that were really special to have on your character, as you could use other skills, auras, or even spells from other classes. Unique and set items just can't be replaced with the atmosphere that Runewords had in the game. They really set up the future many years down the road for players that took the game serious, and it could give you something to look forward to. Skill tree. When Diablo 3 came out, the skills were a little bit different. They used runes to give you different versions of skills. There were so many basic skills in Diablo 2 that worked out really well. I think Blizzard should go back and make skill customization more basic. Skill trees and attributes don't need to be confusing, they don't need to be changed completely or work in all these new and different ways in games such as Path of Exile. I think Diablo 2 had the skill tree set perfect. It wasn't too complex and the skill tree wasn't massive. However, if you knew the game and the skills well, you could customize them to work in very complex ways. The Paladin is a good example of a skill tree. Defensive auras, offensive auras, and combat skills. Very basic, however there are dozens of different types of skills you could choose from and customize. I think Blizzard needs to focus on making the skill tree look and feel more basic, but allow it to be customized in dozens of ways, so then endgame players can really focus on making these crazy builds and making builds very customizable. Unique items, no legendary items. We all remember Diablo 2 for having unique items. When they started to name them legendary items, it just confuses veteran players. It adds a whole new atmosphere to the game that didn't need to be added in the first place. It wasn't broken, so why change it? It's Diablo, not World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft has legendary items. You want Diablo to be its own game, and changes like this really take away from that. There are many other features similar to this one that we've seen in Diablo 3. Looking at the gems is unreal. The new generation of gems looks like it's from an iPhone game. Why did they take away the sapphire and make the diamond look blue? It doesn't make any sense. New graphics. One issue with Blizzard games is they really use bright and advanced graphics. Everything doesn't have to look modern. Something is really special about the graphics in Diablo 1 and Diablo 2. It almost looks like a painting sometimes, like it's true artwork, not just video game graphics. It's just not a normal graphic setting, and it really made the franchise stand out. I think in Diablo 3 they lost that dark atmosphere from Diablo 1 and that medieval atmosphere from Diablo 2. And they need to find a way to bring those two together like they have never done before, and Diablo 4 could look amazing. Offline single player. Many players in the Diablo community want to play solo self-found, and you can't because you have to be online just to play the game. Many players enjoy the effort it takes to obtain items and progression without help from online trades or public games. It is also nice to play the game whenever and wherever you want without depending on the internet all of the time. Nowadays, so many video games you have to be online just to play the game, and it is getting ridiculous. Some people don't care for online multiplayer. It can open some doors for hacked items to come to Battle.net. However, I really think Blizzard can handle this, and I think if any hacked items were going around, they would delete them quickly. I really think they need to bring offline options back, and it's another one of those really important topics people just don't mention very often. Don't try to make the game perfect. Blizzard needs to release games more often, and the games they do create take so many years and they hype them up for so long, and they want players to wait until BlizzCon for any announcements. Make the game highly inspired by Blizzard North. It is important to realize that Blizzard Entertainment and Blizzard North were almost two completely different companies. Blizzard Entertainment did not create the Diablo franchise. They need to go back, take notes, and do major research on the Blizzard North style of Diablo games. Blizzard North looked like a group of people that were really passionate about the game. It was like a group of friends creating a game that they love. According to David Brevik, the team worked together and added input on all different areas of the game, regardless of what a team member officially worked on. It was really sad to see Blizzard North go. Not only did they create an awesome game, they do care about the player base of Diablo, and even today many of them are still very active with the fans of the series. Blizzard needs to focus on what originally made Diablo successful from a technical and visual point of view, and they should start by researching Blizzard North. Go back to basic RPG features. Devs are trying these new ideas to stand out and bring new players to the community. Diablo games don't need new features and ideas. The original developers already created a legendary game to be played forever with infinite possibilities. We have seen this concept with randomly generated areas, monsters, items, and more. Change the character appearance microtransaction types. Appearance changes in games such as Path of Exile takes away from the feeling of accomplishment when you actually put effort into your character to look cool. When you see other players in the world that look amazing, it inspires you to play the game more. Microtransactions should be in Diablo 4 to generate money, and one way for that to happen is with character appearances, by allowing you to purchase different styles of an item once you find it. and you can only have that appearance if you have the item equipped. For example, if you find T-Rail's Might, you can then have the option to purchase different styles of the armor. This not only gets Blizzard money, it also rewards the player for actually playing the game, not just spending money. Don't copy Path of Exile. Path of Exile is a great game, however, it is not Diablo. Blizzard should be inspired by grinding gear games and work their way up to creating their own product. Blizzard could take a few features and add it to Diablo 4, just don't reskin Path of Exile. Path of Exile is a great example because it is very much like Diablo, but it has its own unique design, features, and gameplay styles. Don't release Diablo 4 if it is not finished. The Diablo 3 release was a disaster, and the Air 37 was just the start of it. Everything from no endgame, no PvP, terrible itemization features, and an outraged community that was completely ignored by the Diablo dev team. If this game is going to work, it is going to take real time spent playing the game in communication with the player base. Remove butterflies. All of us, including the Diablo creator David Brevik, hate the purple butterfly that killed Deckard Cain. Not only that, I'm sure the majority of us don't want to see players walking around with butterfly wings. Darker atmosphere. Countless times fans of the Diablo series have begged for the game to be darker. Thousands of forum posts, memes, and how it should like images appeared on internet years before the release of Diablo 3. Fans referred to the game as being too cartoony, colorful, and bright. And the Diablo 3 development team responded with Whimsy Schreier, a secret level of everything fans would never want to see in the game. Path of Exile got the graphics setting perfect. The look and atmosphere of the game is everything Diablo fans wanted to have for many years now. If Blizzard can gather the correct designers and work on that dark polish we would all like to see, Diablo 4 could see some major improvements and more positive feedback compared to Diablo 3. Frequent content patches. Over the years, Diablo games have never seen many content patches, updates, or even bug fixes. It really feels bad to be a Diablo player and look at the countless amounts of raids, dungeons, and content patches put into World of Warcraft, and to see Path of Exile adding content each and every single season. If Diablo 4 wants to last long term, it will need content patches on a consistent basis. I think Blizzard understands now that if they want to win the Diablo fans over, it is going to take real effort, and grinding gear games has shown the possibilities that it can be done and should be for the future of the game. Make it a reskin of Diablo 2. It has been almost 20 years since the release of Diablo 2. Thousands of players still play today, and the passion and effort put into countless mods, content builds, and more just goes to show how timeless the game truly is. Diablo 4 will have to find a way to be highly inspired by Diablo 2, along with it being unique in its own way. Campaign good for farming. The endless Bale and Chaos runs get old over time. However, many of us would still like to farm the end game bosses. Any design team is going to put massive effort into the story mode and boss fights. So why should all the effort go to waste? Instead of running the same boss runs, Blizzard could design a random generated atmosphere. For example, once you defeat Diablo in the campaign, every time you fight him after that, he will have a randomly generated atmosphere graphics and boss mechanics, also with a chance for his original campaign form to spawn. This would add a great addition to story mode boss farming, and also not make it feel repetitive. Community communication. Diablo 3 was a complete communication disaster. No game is going to be perfect, and even if the game is very polished and finished, it will take time for players to adapt. As time passes, Blizzard must communicate with others to understand what works and what doesn't. So over time, the game can be improved and players can have a better experience. This is going to be very important for itemization and endgame features. Diablo is a very complex game at times, and it takes long-term testing, feedback, and discussions to find balance. As far as the community goes, here are some of the most liked comments on this topic. Andre said a solid story, darker atmosphere, really rare items and more classes. And of course, Decker Kane. Bring him back from the dead, I don't care. Just don't let him die to a butterfly this time. Alex Infinity said, clone of Diablo 2 with enhanced graphics, more acts, more characters, more skills, items, higher skill cap, and the 4th difficulty setting. Simply because D2 is the best game ever made. Roman said no Warcraft people working on Diablo would be an outstanding feature. Also runes, charms, uniques, and crafted rares. PvP and no item rolls like in Diablo 3, where you get stats that have no business being together on a single item.